Hello, everyone. Nadeem here with PCSN. Go ahead and subscribe if you like the content and hit the bell button, and you'll get notified when we release another video. We release a few videos a week. So today I'm going to talk about something that came up in a couple of meetings this week. And the main thing was, hey, we are in the cloud right now, so we don't need backups. We've always heard some variation of this, even when people had on-prem workloads and servers. I've even heard where, people said, hey, we have redundant disk drives in the server, so we don't need backups. Redundancy and backups are two totally different things, and they serve two totally different purposes. And this applies whether it's in the cloud or on-prem. It's one thing to be able to recover when, for example, one drive fails. What happens when an entire server fails? What happens when a user makes an error and now they need to retrieve a previous version of the file? What happens when somebody gets attacked by ransomware and all the files get encrypted? Redundancy is not going to fix that problem. And this is ever more important when you're in the cloud. If something happens, you need to be able to get to your data. So for example, if the systems are on-prem, then anything that's going to happen is going to happen on-prem. But when a third party is involved, a cloud provider is involved, maybe there's an accounting dispute or an issue and the cloud provider cuts you off of your infrastructure. You need to be able to get to your data. You need to be able to restore your files. Your users still need to be able to work. And we have a couple of different things that we always recommend. Of course, we highly recommend that people use some sort of cloud backup. So basically, you back up all your data into a secondary cloud, preferably a totally separate provider. So for example, if you have Microsoft Azure workloads, you want to back those Azure workloads up into an alternate provider. And for something like this, we use a company by the name of Axient. And the reason we use Axient is because we can cover on-prem, cloud, Office 365, Microsoft 365. We can cover, everything, SharePoint, all kinds of workloads with one system, and it's one pane of glass for our techs. So we don't have to have the techs trained in several different systems. So this is what some of the info to know about why you need backup. So number one is, if you're backing up your emails, contacts, calendars, then the good thing is you can now restore back in time stuff that you want to restore. And also, the reason why we recommend it is because our backup system is indefinite, unlimited backup. So if a user leaves 2 years, 3 years, 10 years from now, you need to restore their mailbox for, let's say, legal purposes, you can. And it's very easy to do. Same thing goes for OneDrive for Business, SharePoint Online, Microsoft Teams. Everything gets backed up, and it gets backed up in real time. So an email comes in, it goes into your mailbox, and it goes into your backup. And here are some interesting facts about, this is really eye-opening. 85% of organizations have had some sort of an email breach within the last 12 months. And these are organizations using Microsoft 365, Office 365. Fortunately, our clients have not had breaches, but the reason why they haven't had breaches is because of our standards. So all of our customers, we bring them up to a certain standard, which is based on our standards library. And those standards are the ones that really secure our customer data. But this is an interesting fact. This is worldwide. 67% of IT leaders were reporting an increase in data breaches. And this is because more and more users are working remotely. So, during the pandemic, a lot of people were remote, then they started coming back. Now they're back remote again. A lot of companies are saying, hey, you really don't need to come into work if you don't have to. And 26% of IT leaders have experienced severe data loss. There is no question about this. If you have alternate cloud backups, the 26% simply goes away. The example of that hospital up in LA comes to mind, where they got ransomware encrypted and they couldn't restore the data. So they were thinking about paying the ransom to get their data back. It's like a hospital. How can you not have backups? A simple backup could have fixed this issue for them. And that was in the news and all that. I'm sure some of you remember that. This is an interesting fact about SMBs. 60% of SMBs fall victim to data breach and end up closing in 6 months. So breaches hit SMBs really hard. I would say you don't hear about them because they're not in the news. There is no requirement for SMBs to report when there is a breach. So nobody knows. But 60% of SMBs that fall victim to a data breach, they close down in 6 months. It's huge. So don't skimp on backup. Don't think that you don't need backup no matter what kind of system you have, on-prem, cloud, in-house, third party, whatever it is, you need to have backups. And I prefer not to put all my eggs in one basket. So I would have a separate cloud system for my backup. Now, of course, the same cloud system is good to have. It's better to have backup in the same cloud as opposed to no backup at all. But it's best to have backup in an external third-party cloud. So hopefully this answers some of your questions. I know when I get asked about this, it's always a little concerning that people don't know, or they have not been advised by their IT admins, MSPs, whatever you have, their IT service provider, that they need backups. If somebody says you don't need backup because for whatever reason, that's like saying we are 100% secure, we're never going to have a breach. Nobody is 100% secure. There is no such thing. I cannot prevent or guarantee none of you are going to have breaches. I cannot even guarantee I'm not going to have a breach. Like we say in the industry, breaches are like hurricanes, right? A hurricane, you're not going to stop it. Nobody's going to say, oh, you're not going to have a hurricane because of whatever technology we have. It's not going to happen. What you can do is you can prepare for it. So everybody, let's be prepared. Have a good backup in place.